Hey guys, welcome to the Red Circle Podcast.
Dun dun dun.
We're going to be talking business today.
Yeah, so
Look at his business outfit. He's got his business socks on. He's ready to go.
yeah, so pull up a chair and get a spot of tea,
A spot of tea. Drink it with your pinky up.
so you can speak proper English. You stupid wankers.
I watched this movie.
I wanted to call somebody a wanker, and I want to say bloody so bad.
You bloody wanker.
You bloody bastard.
This is inappropriate, but they say the see you next Tuesday word.
See you next Tuesday. See you.
They say that word a lot over there.
Really?
And I watched a movie that was over there, and every other word, it was like cringy. Every other word was that word.
Maybe it just doesn't mean as bad as
No.
here.
Like it's just a thing that they say.
It's like calling somebody the P word.
Yeah.
P-U-S.
Yes.
I don't know an acronym for that word.
Yeah.
It's like you. But I don't think that word means that. Like when you call somebody a P word,
Yeah.
you're calling them like wimpy.
Yes.
When you call somebody the C word, you're calling them like the B word.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah. It's just not a big deal out there.
Yeah.
But I was like, oh.
Let's see if they can transcribe that conversation that we just had right now. Right? The words on the bottom, they're like, question mark, question mark, question mark.
What are they saying?
You know how they transcribe the videos?
Yeah.
Okay, so business. Let's get down to business. This video should be titled, How to Get Rich.
Ooh.
How to get rich. Okay. Or wealthy, or have money, or whatever you want to call it. This is not financial advice. Okay. Seek an attorney, CPA. I don't take any responsibility for this. This is a conspiracy channel.
Yeah.
So why are you taking advice from me? Okay. The first thing, maybe I should talk at it like from a first person perspective.
Yeah, and I think people should know your background too, so that they'll listen to it and be like, he knows what he's talking about, because he does.
Yeah. Si tengo dinero, mucho. No. I'm in real estate. I've been investing for years, like 16 years. I've probably bought and sold, 1,600 properties.
1,600?
Uh-huh.
That's a lot.
Yeah, and then also I've invested a bunch of properties. You know, I've been selling for the last couple of years, obviously, because I'm preparing for the collapse.
Yeah.
I went from like 140 properties to like approximately 83, 84 right now. And I've transitioned recently a lot to Airbnbs in the last 3-4 years. And I have a course on Airbnb, which is coming out soon. It'll probably be out by the time this video gets out.
Yeah.
Because what episode are we in?
24.
Gee, Jiminy Christmas. I don't know who Jiminy Christmas is,
but
let's say his name. Okay, so the first thing, and it's funny because nobody's going to like this.
Okay.
But it's the truth.
All right.
And the truth shall set you free.
Yes.
So first thing you need to do is control your expenses.
Yes.
Sorry.
Yeah.
The first thing you need to do is control your expenses. You need to create a spreadsheet.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to know where your money's going. And you need to know what you're spending it on.
Yeah.
And you need to live below your means.
Yes.
The key, this is the number one key to, well, I don't know if I should call it number one, but the number one thing I'm going to talk about is if you can get your expenses to 70% or below your income, it's the number one problem. Even people that have successful businesses, even people that have successful jobs, or doctors, lawyers, doesn't mean that they have any money.
No.
Okay? Because the first time you get that raise or the promotion or whatever, then you go buy the Mercedes and you get the bigger house, and then you get the Rolex, and that's the path to no money.
Yeah.
To debt.
Yes.
In a sense, slavery.
Yeah.
Most people don't realize it, but debt is slavery. Right? What's that saying in the Ron Paul movement that we used to say is taxes is theft, right?
Yeah.
And debt is slavery.
Yeah, definitely.
There's a scripture that says the borrower is slave to the lender. And they are.
Yeah, 100%.
Think about how much America's in debt. How much we pay in interest.
Yeah.
That was my go-to if you heard it. Interest and taxes. Those are the two biggest things you're going to spend in life. So if you can figure out how to live below your means, number one thing. And I know it's hard, but you need to do it. And the easiest way to do it is when you get the new job, you just don't do anything new.
Yes.
Right? There's a reason why Warren Buffett lives in the same house in the same town and eats, McDonald's cheeseburgers.
Yeah.
And he's got more money than all of us, right?
Yeah.
And he drives like a Toyota.
Yeah.
Right?
How long should they not do something new? For like a year? 6 months?
No, you don't ever.
Ever.
You just live below your means.
Yeah.
So there's a saying, and we'll get into it, but there's a saying in, and I'll recommend some books. Let me just write books down. And there's a saying in the book, The Richest Man in Babylon, which is a classic book, and it's don't eat your own children. Okay? So you don't eat your children. Or you don't eat the fruit. Okay? So I'll give you a biblical thought. I'll get into that later. Let me get into that later. But let me write down the biblical thought in investing.
I think having a spreadsheet and looking over your expenses is eye-opening.
Oh, it's terrifying.
It is. And you don't even want to do it. And then once you do it, like what I realized, because I got us in 2017 is when I started prepping and when I started saving and like really getting into our finances. And we ate half of our money.
Yeah. Going out to eat.
Going out to eat. Grocery shopping. And we didn't even eat the groceries because we were going out to eat. We were eating 50% of our money. And it was just like, oh, well, we only spent $15 at P.F. Chang's. Or not P.F. Chang's, at Panda Express. We only spent this much. It was just... And at the end of the month, 50% of our money we were eating.
Yep.
That's terrible.
Yep. And it's something new. There's a movie called They Live, right? And we can put a picture up. And in that movie, the guy, he finds these sunglasses and he puts them on. It's a great conspiracy theory movie. Okay. He puts these sunglasses on, and then every piece of advertisement is like, obey, consume.
He could see what it was.
Yes.
Yeah.
And what it is it's enticing you to. It's like it trying to get you in the alley. You know what I mean? It's enticing you to become consumers, to be brainwashed, to think that thing is going to bring you happiness, which it will not.
It doesn't. It never does.
It never does. It's hollow. It's dead. It's a lie from the pit of hell.
Yes.
Not saying that I'm anti-stuff. This is like, there's a misquoted scripture that says that the love of money is the root of all evil, right? And most people say money is the root of all evil. Money is not the root of all evil. The love of money, and there's a scripture that says you can either worship God or mammon, and mammon is money. It's like the god of money. It's the god of America. America is possessed by the god of mammon.
100%.
Right? And it didn't used to be. Yeah. It didn't used to be. Our grandparents and great-grandparents were not possessed by that demon. But this country is now possessed by the demon of mammon. And it's sad. And I see it in my, people that I know that are big-time Christians. I see it in myself. I see it in pastors. I see it everywhere. Yeah. And all they want to talk about is mammon. And mammon is not the key to happiness.
No.
Right?
I like the way you said it. It's hollow. Every time I'd buy something that I thought was going to make me happy or make me better or make me whatever. Nope. It doesn't.
It's like a sugar rush. You get a sugar rush, and then it goes away, and then you feel bad.
Yeah, you're excited about it for a week.
And then you got to pay for it because you financed it.
Exactly.
So you have to be careful with the temptations of the devil, the lies of the devil, the schemes of the devil. Yes. And I'll tell you another thing. Most people should not own a house. It's a lie. I can put it on paper and I can show you why owning a house is a bad investment.
Whoa. That
Yeah.
I would like to hear about that.
Okay, I'll give you a tidbit.
Okay.
First reason why is you'll pay less in rent than you will in your mortgage. And then when you're renting, you don't have to pay for repairs, which is huge. Nobody understands it's 20% of the price that you're paying in your mortgage, you're going to spend in repairs on average. 20%.
I didn't know. Is that 20% a year? Like, what is that?
The monthly.
Oh my gosh.
So think about all you spend in your mortgage payment. Say it's $2,000 a month. 2,000 times 12. What's that? 24. 24,000, right?
Damn.
So 24,000, and 10% of 24,000 is 240,000. No, 2,400. So that would be $4,800 a year in just repairs, and that's to maintain the property.
Yeah.
That's not doing any improvements.
No. And most people can barely afford their house, and they don't think about all that stuff.
And insurance, and then materials are increasing, taxes are increasing every year. So you're chasing this thing. So if you go and you find a place that's for rent and you rent it for 5 years, you put a 5-year lease onto something, right? The landlord might be happy, and you won't have to pay for increase in rent. You won't have to pay for repairs, and you won't have to pay for the increase in the cost of the house, of the property, and you gain the property. So that's what I say. Now, most people cannot fathom this thought because they won't do the rest of what I'm saying. So for most people, buying a house will be their biggest investment because they will not invest in anything else. Specifically, even if they do 401k, which is a big joke, it's going to be the worst investment they ever did in their lives. The only reason anybody should do a 401k, well, the only reason I'm going to say that because I'm not giving a financial advice. The only reason I would not invest in a 401k, only reason I would invest in a 401k is if they were doing matching. And
the company was matching the amount you were putting in.
Yes. Because it's 100% return instantly. And it's really the only way that they're giving money. I would prefer people, if they were going to give their employees money, let them have their own stock trade account and put money in their stock trade account. Because now I know most people don't have the discipline. That's why the number one thing on here is control your expenses. Because you need discipline to control your expenses. Until you learn discipline, you will never be able to invest. Okay, so that's the first thing.
Discipline.
Number two, and I put it in parentheses. I put give. Okay. Now in church they talk about a tithe, right, which is a tenth. Give it away. Give it away. Give it away now. Now this is more a spiritual discipline because it is a spiritual fight to tithe. You want to learn discipline. You want to learn self-control. Try and tithe. It's almost impossible.
Every month it feels like there's a better thing to spend my money on.
Always.
Than tithing. But I made it something that was as equally important in my mind and in my heart as the light bill. Like, it's just like, this is what we do. And when because we had struggled financially for a while, for like a year, right when we had Addie. So it was like scary because we have a baby and we're struggling. And that's when I learned discipline. When we had nothing, I realized what was important. I was buying a bunch of crap on Amazon. I didn't need any of it. I don't need any of it. And I realized that, like, what's important, a roof over our head, food in our bellies, you know,
clothes, whatever.
Like, you know, but not everything
necessities.
else. Yes, the necessities.
The necessities.
But for us, it took struggling to gain that discipline. I really don't think I would have gained any discipline, even to this day, if we hadn't struggled when we struggled.
Yeah, and it's the best skill you can ever learn because most people will say that they will get disciplined with their money when they start making more money.
No.
But it's harder.
Yes. Yeah.
It's harder. I've made, a $120,000 check.
Yeah.
And I got it in one day, and I had to go deposit it. And I was like, I got to tithe on this.
Yes.
Tell me it's gonna be easy for you to tithe $12,000 bucks.
No.
Ooh, buddy, you might be like, God.
Yeah.
What about $2,000?
Yeah.
I'm sure there's nobody else is up there at church giving $2,000.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not easier.
Yeah.
You have to build in that discipline ahead of time.
Yeah. And now it's a point of pride. Like, I feel so good when we tithe because I know it's helping people. I know what the money's going towards. And it makes my heart so happy when we tithe. I just love it.
And so there's a biblical principle of multiplication. It's the only thing that the Bible says that you can test God on. So if you give him the money, he's like, you can test me that I will not find room enough you won't have room enough to receive the blessings that I gave you. Something to that effect. I'm misquoting it, but the idea is that he's going to bless you back, and it's going to be over and abundant of what you've given.
Pressed
right?
down, shaken together, and running over.
There you go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So the hard part about it is that sometimes God blesses you, and he doesn't bless you just financially, even though you've given financially. He'll bless you with people. He'll bless you with friends. He'll bless you with something to do, right? And there's a scripture in I think it's in Deuteronomy, and it says God goes to and fro throughout the world, looking for whom he can show himself strong. Right? So he's looking for somebody that will have the discipline that he can trust with the money.
Yes.
Because he lives in heaven with streets of gold. Everything's his. He can do whatever he wants with his money. But he's not going to give you money that will
destroy you.
Yeah.
And you see that, like, with the lottery. Like, a huge percentage, a majority of people end up bankrupt, broke, worse than they were, and they got millions of dollars. You would think that would make it better, but if you don't have the discipline, if you're not smart about your taxes and all of that stuff, it'll destroy you.
It will.
Yeah.
It will destroy you easily.
Yeah, and God can't. He knows if it's going to mess you up or not. And he's not going to do that,
Yeah.
That makes total sense.
So, if you become somebody that he can trust, and you do it consistently, and he feels like, if I bless this guy, it's not going to hurt them, because he's got self-control, he's built the discipline to handle it in his life, that if I do give him that $100,000, that he will tithe on it.
Yes, I love that.
Right? And because God's all about building his kingdom, right? And part of his kingdom is building your life, but big part of his kingdom is saving souls and preaching the gospel.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's where the church comes in.
And that's where the church comes in. And that's why he wants storehouses, the money in the storehouses at his church.
Yeah. And so Jake got let go March of this year.
Oh, okay.
And it was so crazy because he needed to leave anyways. He needed to start his own. He's a real estate appraiser. It was time. So it felt like a stab in the heart, and it was scary, but it was time for him to leave. I had been able to save up enough for 6 months because I had started in 2017. 6 months of living. And it was so important to me to continue to tithe at the same level that we were tithing.
Wow. So it's almost an offering.
Yes, exactly. And it was so hard. I wanted to do it, but sometimes I was like, oh, I gotta pay the light bill. But every time we had nothing, abundance would come in. It was just like God showed himself through the hardest, craziest, and then we have two kids.
Preach it, girl.
It was scary, but we weren't prepared. It was time. It was I don't know. It was a lot. This has been a hard year.
Yeah. Yeah.
But
for sure.
it just I wanted to continue to tithe, and God just showed himself every turn, anytime we needed anything, abundance. It was great. It's been great.
That's awesome. Praise God.
Yeah, and now his business is doing so good. He's off on his own. He's killing it, and we have time together. It's just
so great. Way better.
Great. Yeah.
He's not tied down to somebody else's.
Exactly. Somebody else's vision. Yeah.
All right. So number 3 is pay yourself first. And this is another thing from The Richest Man in Babylon, which I will reference frequently. And the main reason you pay yourself first is because we always pay everybody else first, right? So after you tithe, you pay God first, and then you pay yourself first before you pay bills. So you have to pay yourself first. There's another good book. It's called Profit First, and it's a way of running a business so that it's always profitable, because you're taking your profit out immediately, and then the business has to survive with the profit not there.
Yeah.
It's a fascinating concept.
Yeah.
And it goes right along with this.
People don't think that way. In business and in life, they don't think that way.
No, because if you did, then you would be like, well, we can't afford it. We can't afford it. We can't afford it. And you have to figure something out. Then you create innovation.
Yes.
Right?
Oh,
So
I love that.
pay yourself first. Number 4 is save. Okay. So all these 3 go hand in hand. What I would do, what I would do for myself, trying to say this right, is you got 10% tithe, 10% invest in yourself, okay? And I'm not saying buy courses, except mine. And then save, okay? But I would do 10% on each one of these for myself. So tithe 10%, pay yourself 10%, and then save 10%. The difference between save and pay yourself is the pay yourself is for investing. Okay? The 10% you never spend. You never spend.
Yeah, you don't touch it.
Never spend. Now you can have a rainy day fund in the beginning, like 6 months. And then after that, you never touch that money. Okay? So this is the key. So that's 70% so you're up here at 70% of your income you're living off of, and then the other 30% is tithe, pay yourself, and save. Okay? And then 5th is income. Okay? You have to focus on increasing your income, obviously. You know what I mean? Don't be dumb. Everything's going to get more expensive, and you have to become more expensive as well. Don't become stagnant like a flat pool. Number 6 is expenses. So you want to control your expenses. You want to check all your subscriptions. You want to check you're going out to eat. You want to check your repairs on the property. Maybe it's not right for you to own the property at this time because it's just going to make you. You know how many people I've seen that are drowned in their mortgage. They are treading water just to pay a house. When they could sell it, get a bunch of money, rent, and all that stress and fear is gone. Okay? Just because they care what their stupid parents think, or their friends or their family, or they want to look, it's the lie. It's the big lie. The American dream is not owning a house. The American dream is owning a business. It's not owning a house. My house is not my dream. You know what I mean? It's not. And I think that's the difference between males and females. Not to get off on a tangent, but females are way more attached to a house than the males are. And I think this is one of the reasons why the male is somewhat part of the head of the household. Because he can make unbiased decisions. Because the woman wants to nest, and they want security, and they want safety. They want to be protected, And sometimes to get to that next level, you have to make sacrifices of these things to get to that next level. right, of living.
Yeah.
And I haven't known these things my whole life. Like, this is stuff that I figured out the hard way.
Yeah.
Okay. There's many times that I have come home and the utilities were turned off. I didn't grow up with a silver spoon. Yeah. I was Poe, you know.
Poe.
Yeah, like I was missing an O. I was Poe. And so I learned this stuff through reading, through studying, through doing it, through experience. Mm-hmm. These are the things that will destroy your life. Yeah. It'll destroy your marriage. It'll destroy your kid's life. If you could just get below your means, yes, you can live a better life.
Yeah, for sure.
You can live a way better life.
Yeah.
Light years better than the person next to you. Yeah. And then the person that lives next to you, you judge your life based on that person's life.
Yeah. Like Keeping Up with the Joneses.
That's your Jones is the guy next door. Yeah. It's proven fact that the way you see your own status is based on the person that lives next door to you, your neighborhood. So
interesting.
Yeah. So if your neighbor gets a new car, you're like, oh, well, I gotta go get a car.
Yeah.
If your neighbor starts doing upgrades to your house, you'll see if one neighbor's doing a bunch of upgrades, everybody in the neighborhood will start doing upgrades. Yeah. You know, and they just feel inferiority complex or like, oh, I gotta be better than this person so I can get ahead or whatever. Mm-hmm. And it's all a stinking lie of the devil. Mm-hmm. It's a big, huge lie of the devil.
It just keeps you in this rat race of things and debt and
chasing.
What's really important, chasing.
Chasing
nothing.
It's the rat wheel in the stupid thing, you know, and all you're doing is you're creating energy for the matrix, for the big guys. Yes. You are the copper top.
Yeah. And you're keeping yourself there.
Yeah, and you're willfully there.
Yeah.
Yeah. You have the freedom to sell, but for whatever reason you won't. Yeah. Because you think that that's what's going to bring you happiness, even though it never has. It never has. Yeah. Like, I have an amazing house. Yeah. I have an amazing house. I love my house. Yeah. But I got my house on a stupid deal. Yeah. You know, I fixed it out of excess money, and it's not burying me every month. It could bury a lot of people. Yeah. But it's not burying me.
Yeah. A group of ladies that I'm a part of, half of them are very extremely well off, and the other half are like middle class, like we are, like Jake and I are, and I am so secure in who I am, in God, in me, and in all of the things, and I'm so happy that I'm in this group in the way that I am now, because I think I would have tried to keep up with the Joneses. Mm-hmm. I cannot keep up with millionaires who have private jets. That's not a thing, you know. Like and the fact that I don't want to keep up makes my heart really happy, because there's a lot of ladies in the group that are new clothes, all the jewelry, all the this, that, the other, that, you know, like it's a stress that they're putting on themselves that does not matter. Like Jake and I, we have our goals. We, you know, like we just bought a property and we are going to slowly, we're uncomfortable right now. We're living in an RV right now, you know, but we have goals. And that's the point. Like we're, you know, I don't know. It just, I'm so excited for
the future.
Our little orchard, our goats, our chickens, like our shop, all of the things that we're going to be building on that. I can live in an RV for a couple more months if I need to. Yeah. You know, like we're going to...
It won't be the end of the world.
It isn't. But you mentioned our stupid parents, the way you said it. It's... The way we're living right now is very hard on my mom.
I can see it.
Yeah. And she just like the way that she...
She's all judgy.
Yeah.
Why you gotta be judging me?
I know.
Just because I live in an RV.
In an RV, just for a little bit. Like we have goals, you know. Like, and like the money that we were spending on rent, $1,400 a month. That's saving to build now. Yeah. Like we don't have to pay any of that. Like we're gonna be uncomfortable for a little bit so that we could be really comfortable for for the rest of whenever.
That's good.
Yeah, but it is hard to like have your mom look at you like, well, what about my grandbabies?
Are they dead?
No, and they're
Did they
having
eat?
so much fun.
Yeah, they're probably having more fun now. It's like an adventure.
Yes, it is like an adventure, and like they don't even notice. And they're little right now too, so I think it's the perfect time to do this. If you're teenagers, it'd probably be a little harder. But like, I'll ask them questions, and Aria is just like, "Oh, this is so much fun. No, this is awesome."
Yeah, because they got all the land to run around in.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah. That's one of the things I like the most with my properties. I got a bunch of land, and the girls can run and play, and you know, it's definitely important. You know, from a father's perspective, is that you want to provide for your kids, but you also need to sacrifice to get to the next level, to get out of the rat race, to get out of the matrix. And these are the tools.
I love that.
But people don't want to do it.
Yeah, they don't want to be uncomfortable, even for a little bit.
No. Like, you could go back and live with your parents and you wouldn't die.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And save all that money that you're making and just sit there and be like, I'm good now. Right?
Imagine just a year of no mortgage, or a year of no rent, or a year of no car payments.
I'll tell you a little bit of my story. Me and my wife, when the market collapsed, I was doing wholesaling. And then every year or so, I would buy a property. We'd move into it, fix it while we're living in it, and then sell it while we live in it, and then we would go and move into a new property. We did, I think, 15.
Oh my God, 15 houses?
Yeah.
And what span of time? Pre-kids.
What's the last? When I've been here like 6 years.
Okay.
This was the last one.
Okay.
This was the last one. The only deal my wife made is she says, I will do it if every house is nicer than the one before.
Yeah, love that.
So now if I get a bigger house, it's going to be very expensive. So I'm not doing any more houses.
Yeah.
You know, move-in flips.
Yeah. But that's like uncomfortable, but great. And, and you're building yourself up.
Yeah, we could tell you stories about houses that had mice. That was just disgusting. That there was one that was so bad that we moved into when the house sold while we were in Florida to a cash buyer.
Ooh.
And we were in Florida at the National Republican Convention.
Okay.
We were Ron Paul people, right?
Yeah.
And the Liberty Movement or whatever. And they wanted to close while we were there.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, all right. So I called up some contractors and moving companies, and they came and packed everything up.
While you were out of town.
While I was out of town.
Oh, my God.
They moved to the new property that I scheduled the closing on, and I closed while I was out of town.
Holy
One deal I was going to sell to somebody else.
cow.
We moved to the other. They put all of our stuff in the other house, didn't unpack it.
Yeah.
We go in, and the house smells like dog feces.
No.
So all our clothes, all our furniture smelled like dog feces.
No.
True story.
Ed.
And
was
that was
sad.
And that was the same house that had mice.
Oh.
The same house that had mice. So we went to and this is pre Airbnb. So we went to one of those weekly, nightly rate hotels on Montana by the airport.
Montana?
By the airport.
Was it a little shady?
Yeah, it was a little shady. You know, it was nicer, but it was shady.
Yeah.
And we stayed there for like a month.
Yeah.
While I got the house ready.
Ready and cleaned up.
It wasn't like anywhere close to being fixed.
Yeah.
But we got it where it was livable.
Yeah, it didn't smell like dog poop.
Yeah. Like we had no kitchen for like a year. But we got that one sold, fixed, flipped, sold, and then moved to another one. I don't want to go through all the stories, but, that one was a rough one. I remember the cat bringing me like a mouse in its mouth. Oh. She's like, I got you something.
I got you a present.
And we're like, we would find like mouse heads around the house.
Oh my God.
True story, you know.
See, and like how cool, Sephra's down. Your wife is down.
Yeah, she wasn't down in the beginning, but she got down. You know what I mean? Once you see a little bit of the money and a little bit of the breaking out, And the crazy thing is that her parents would give us so much crap about it too.
Yeah.
And and it was all like behind back, and her sisters saying this and and trying to drive a wedge between the family. So it was tough. It was tough because you never really know, how it's going to turn out.
Yeah.
Because investing's risky.
Very risky.
So, but I just say that just to say that sacrifices are always the way to get ahead.
Yes. Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's just, it is. Like,
Yeah.
duh.
Yeah. And you don't need that cheeseburger every week, for the
$6
$6
Starbucks.
Yes.
$6 Starbucks. You don't need
the coffee.
you don't need the new car.
You don't need the new car.
You don't need the new car. You don't need the fancy clothes.
That was one of the first things we did because we were drowning because I had student loan debt. I didn't want to go to college. My mom made me because she told me I wouldn't be successful if I didn't go. So I had student loan debt.
And all you need to do is find a good man. That's all you need to do.
That's all I needed to do.
Trying to tell you, ladies. Trying to tell you, ladies, the lie has been told to you.
It's a lie.
It's a lie. Like I tell my girls, yeah, they can go to school if they want to, but you be nice. Don't be a hoe. Be a good Christian. Keep your virginity. Know how to cook. Stay in shape. This is how you get a man. It has nothing to do with your job, girl. We don't care. We don't want your money because you don't even share it with us anyway when you get it.
That's true. I don't share.
They don't.
No.
It's something in you. You know it already.
Yeah.
All you girls know.
I
You're like,
share.
oh, I ain't going to do it. Yeah, we'll be going out to eat and I'll be spending my own damn money. It's like, you have a job too, girl. Right? That's just the way it is. We understand it and we're fine with it.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
Men are fine with it. That's why we don't care.
Yeah.
We don't care what you do for a living. You could be an attorney, super rich attorney, making all kinds of crazy money. We don't care.
Yeah.
We want you at home, and we want to know that you know how to make meatloaf.
Ma, the meatloaf.
Ma, the meatloaf.
When your mom was in town for Christmas.
I kept saying that. Yeah.
Ma, the meatloaf.
Yeah.
So funny.
Intro Vince Vaughn. And no,
In
it's
a
not.
robe.
It's Jim Farrell.
No,
it's
Will Ferrell.
Will Ferrell
Ma.
in Wedding Crashers. I don't know what she's doing in there.
Ma, the meatloaf. So Jake and I, we had almost $800 in car bills.
Mm-hmm.
And we were drowning because of the student loans, rent, and then car loans.
Mm-hmm.
So we sold our cars. One of them we were upside down on. Sold it, got things paid off, and then we had $5,000 each to buy a car cash. And that's how we got our cars.
Yeah, you guys got 2 Beamers.
Yeah. Well, and it was kind of cool because we found a guy who sells used cars that loves BMWs. And that's why we have BMWs, because he collects them and then sells them. And we only had 5,000 each.
That's perfect.
And we made it happen.
You did it.
Mm-hmm.
You did the thing.
And the car is older. Mine is older than Jake's, but he knows how to fix cars. And YouTube can teach you a lot. And anytime something breaks, he fixes it.
That's great.
And we have no car debt.
Yeah, and then your insurance goes down because you just do liability.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, insurance is like a car payment in itself now.
It is. Our insurance is like $80 for 2 cars.
Yeah, I think ours is like 200 and something. Maybe more. And it's been going up.
Yes.
My wife's car is paid off.
Yeah.
And her car bill alone was 800 and something. When I first bought it, yeah.
Oh, jeez.
And then my car payment's cheap. I think it's like 300 or 400.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
But I will say this. If you're our personality types, extroverted, kind of messy people, you know what I mean?
Accurate.
Yeah. Hashtag, don't judge me. Don't
It
judge
is
me.
what it is.
Don't judge me, I'm fun.
Don't judge me, I'm fun.
Yeah, I'm fun. I bring the life to the party, girl. Shoot, I can't be everything to everybody. Only angry people are good at cleaning.
Yeah. Only angry people.
Angry, bitter
Doing
people.
the dishes makes me feel angry.
Yes, I get angry. Like,
I
I start cursing like the burglars from Home Alone. Freaking. You know, I'm gonna put a gold tooth in my mouth.
Oh my
gosh. But so if you're not good at this thing,
yeah,
recognize it and outsource it. Okay, the best money you will ever spend is money that if you cannot do this, is you spend it to get a accountant and run everything through the accountant. You can get an accountant to run your books, pay your bills for like $150 to $200 a month.
Wow, I always assumed it was more than that.
It's not. It's cheap.
Awesome.
And they do it for businesses all the time, and for a person, and like not me, mine are businesses, but but for a person,
easy peasy.
Yeah,
nothing crazy.
It's gonna be so easy for them, and you're like, okay, you open this account for a savings account for your giving, this account for your paying yourself, and then this account for investing, right? No, not savings. Right? And then the savings, you don't want to have access to it.
Yes. So for us, any money that's in our checking account, we will spend it.
Yes.
We just will spend it.
Yeah, you look at the account and you're like, oh, I got money, let's do it.
Yeah, and I'm very good at saving, and Jake is good in theory at saving, but if it's in the account, he'll spend it. So what we had to do, we have 2 checking accounts and a savings account, and he has access to all of them, of course, but he doesn't have the savings account on his app. He does not want to see, because if he sees, he will spend. So we worked out a system where the second we get paid, I only pull it all out. It all goes other places. I only keep $200 in the checking account that we can spend. And if we're going to do a bigger purchase, I'll move things over. But if he sees that there's only $200 in the account, he's going to be more picky on what he does. And I just had to, we had to trick ourselves. Because we know we have a savings. We know it's there. But he can't look at it because he'll want to spend it.
You just make it harder on yourself to get there, and your laziness will prevent you from doing it.
Exactly. I've done that.
You trick yourself. You hack yourself.
You hack yourself.
Yes.
I've done that with food because I like cookies, and I'll freeze the cookies or freeze things so that I have to let it thaw and then eat it, and then I'll be over it. Ice cream, that doesn't work with that.
Because it's already frozen.
Yeah, but...
Yeah, so just
hack yourself.
Hack yourself, okay? All right, so then after you figure these things out, this is like 202.
Okay.
Okay? Then you want to look at opening a business. You want to look at actually investing, because even though you have this account over here investing, I'm not telling you to invest until you know what the heck you're doing.
Yeah.
Okay? And then so in the business too, don't go start a business until you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
And don't start a business with somebody that just because they have an idea about it, business. An idea, everybody's got a great idea for business. The idea is not what makes a business successful.
Yeah.
It's the system of running a business that makes a business successful. It's a system that makes consistent profit.
Consistent, yeah.
That is a successful business. That's why franchises are are created, because they found a way to make consistent money. Even though you can spend, like, if you want to open a McDonald's, I think it's right now it's like $2 to $5 million to open a McDonald's.
Okay.
Now, granted, you probably finance a lot of it, but even if you have to put 30% down, that's a grip. And then you'll make $150,000 to $200,000 a year. That's it. On a $2 to $5 million business investment.
Yeah.
So you're in debt maybe $4 million, and you're making $200,000. Is that a good ratio? Probably not. But the great thing about is that you're, in a sense, out of the rat race.
Yeah.
With one franchise.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you're in it for the long haul. After 20 years.
Yeah, but they constantly make you refurbish and remodel the place, and then you go higher in debt. You're never going to get out of debt with McDonald's.
I didn't know I assumed you'd at least get like $1 million a year.
Nope.
If your place is
The one that pays the most, I think, is Chick-fil-A, but then you don't really own the full amount. So they make money, but they won't let you. So Chick-fil-A is not really, it's like a quasi franchise.
Yeah.
They only, I think, let you have like 10 or 15%.
And you have to work.
Yeah, you have to be there and you have to work. So you're not really getting out of jail.
No.
You're not getting out of the rat race. No. You're in the rat race.
When I realized that, I was like, no.
And they won't let you own multiple.
Oh.
I think you can have 2, but that's it.
Okay.
Now, don't get me wrong. It's God's chicken.
It is the Lord's chicken.
The Lord's chicken. Did you tell me it was the Lord's chicken? So, but the reason that they're so successful in selling franchises is a way to have consistent money. Mm-hmm. And that's the hardest thing.
Yeah.
There's a reason why it's so valuable, because it's very hard to create. Mm-hmm. So, if you're going to start a business, there's a couple books I would recommend. The E-Myth, The Pumpkin Plan, Profit First, and The Innovator's Dilemma. Those 4 books are really, really good start to understanding business, because even there's one that's called the Lean Startup. It's a really good book. And it talks about how people start businesses just because they like the product and just because they think the product is the business. Mm-hmm. That's a big part of the E-Myth too, is are you a technician or are you an entrepreneur? So it's the myth. Because you're good at something, you're good at making tables, does not mean you're an entrepreneur. Mm-hmm. Entrepreneurs don't care about the product as much as they care about the system. Yeah. The system is everything else. Like, you can go home and make a better hamburger than McDonald's, but you're not going to sell a franchise for your hamburgers for $5 million. Yeah. Yeah. For one McDonald's. Yeah. Think about how much money McDonald's is making on their franchisors. So much. And then they own all that land and they own all the property. Like. Yeah. So much. And then they make a margin on the food that they send them. Like, yeah. It's a great business. Yeah, it's huge. It's a great business. Yeah. Great business.
And it's like worldwide. It's amazing.
Most businesses fail, and then the ones that, I think it was like 90% of businesses fail within the first 5 years, and then out of that 10%, in the next 5 years, another 90% of those fail, and then so on until forever. The businesses just consistently fail because it's very hard to create that system, right? Yes. And it's also hard to create a business that you are not self-employed in.
Yes, that is so key in my opinion, for long-term success. Because we used to have a restaurant, and the way that we did it, we had the money. We didn't go into debt for it. Like, the 4 of us, there's 4 partners, but to save money, we were the labor. And then to slowly get ourselves out of being the labor, we saved and grew, and then were able to hire people. But we were never really able to get ourselves fully out of it in the first 3 years. And we burnt out. And then one of the partners was shitty. He was a horrible person, and I didn't want to be in business with him anymore. But burnout, if you don't get yourself out of the system, you're gonna burn out.
Yep. That's why the cash flow quadrants from Kiyosaki is so important. Is you have the E, the S, the B, big B, and then the I. So the E is for employees. The S is for self-employed. The B is for big business, which is 100 plus employees. And then the I is for investing. Most money is made in the B. Like, there's very few people that we know. I can name maybe 3, maybe 4 people that have 100 plus employees. Yeah. Right? Yeah. Like, even your builder friend, I don't know if they have 100 plus employees. They probably do. Yeah. It's probably close. They
contract a lot out.
Yeah, they're probably close. Yeah. Investing is where you put the money that you make. People think that investing is a way to make money. And the number one purpose of investing is a place to put money to go with to fight inflation.
Yeah.
Okay, and then to grow over time, with you putting in your money.
Yeah.
Okay, that's the number one purpose of investing. Yes, you want it to make money, but the number one purpose of investing is so you can build a nest egg, a retirement plan, and wealth for your kids. Okay.
Yeah.
Like,
because it's not going to make you anything sitting in the bank, so you got to put it
or
somewhere.
in lattes at Starbucks,
Yes.
and with a bigger house.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So investing, you got a lot of different places to put money. I'll just give you a little tidbits about investing. Investing in real estate, 1 to 4 or lower apartment complex numbers, is very hard to cash flow unless you manage it yourself, because the management will eat everything.
All the profit.
All the
their
profit.
Wages and all that.
Yes. So that's the rub, is you're not really out. You're still in. You're still self-employed. With 1 to 4 up to like 150 units.
Okay.
Right when you get to when you get to the amount of units in residential apartments where you can have an on-staff employee there and an on-staff maintenance guy there to manage, take leases, fix property the whole time, and it still cash flows, then you will be out. Okay. Or you can buy enough single-family houses to in turn manage with an employee and a maintenance guy. So you can have them spread out, but you have to have scale to be able to minimize the overhead expenses. Because if you're paying 10% and then the manager's going to, put a water heater in and then charge 20% on top of the water heater being put in and make that money back herself. This is how property management is done. So you got to understand that. But so the first thing you got to do is you got to understand that you got to put the money in there, and then you have to leave it there to grow long term, and then you have to make sure that you bought it at the right price. So you have to learn how to understand NOI, net operating income, cap rate, which is the capitalization rate, ROI, return on investment. You got to understand these terms, which is, it's not that complex.
Yeah.
Buy my course. And with these tools, you can learn how to invest in real estate. Okay. Now there's commercial real estate, there's land, there's shopping centers, there's all kinds of ways to invest in. There's triple net leases. You could buy so like Walgreens doesn't own the properties that they're in.
Oh, okay.
So you could be the owner of the Walgreens, and Walgreens will sign a 20-year, 15-year lease with you.
Wow.
So all of these Walgreens are not owned by Walgreens. They're in like 20-year leases from an investor that's locally bought them.
That's awesome.
And invested in them. And then it's triple net lease, so they fix everything. You just build it to their specs, and then they do everything else.
They maintain it. So you have to own the land and you have to build it to their specs, but they will be there for 20 years. They're going to take care of everything. I had a friend who his dad's owned the property that a hospital was on. They were loaded.
Stupid loaded, yeah.
Yeah. And I never ever thought about, I just always assumed the business owned the land. I never thought about that until then.
Yeah. So it makes Walgreens' business model simpler because then they have a flat, simple rate.
Yes.
So when they run into times like today where you have inflation, they went out a little bit because they have a fixed rate. Stuff like that.
And like property taxes, I think all of that stuff.
Exactly. Back to my rent to owning model.
Yeah.
Okay. And then if you're gonna go into if I'm gonna go into the stock market, I should say me. If I'm gonna go into the stock market, I'm definitely not gonna go now.
Yeah.
Because we're all poised for another 20-30% drop.
Yeah.
It is currently December 30th. 2022 going into 2023 next year, which I'm proposing that maybe I'll do a prediction video.
Ooh, do it.
Okay. And so I wouldn't put any money in the stock market unless you were putting it in commodities or manufacturing companies that manufacture things in the United States or in Mexico. And then even like mining companies and things of that nature might be a good bet. I wouldn't put it really. I can't think of anything else that I would put my money in right now in the stock market. I think the stock market's overpriced. The PE ratios, which profit to earning ratios, are way off. Anything that's above like a 7 or 8 PE ratio is way too expensive. Like Tesla was at like a 1400 PE ratio.
Wow.
Yeah, stupid.
Yeah.
So the price that you're buying the stock at compared to how much they're earning was like 1400 times.
Oh.
It's crazy.
That's crazy. Yeah.
So you shouldn't do more than 7.
Okay.
So think about it this way, so you can understand a profit to earning ratio. So say I'm going to buy your restaurant, right? You own this restaurant. Your restaurant is making $100,000 a year. So if you own that restaurant and I came to you and I said, hey, I'll give you $700,000 for this restaurant, you'd be like, yeah, I'll take it, right? Okay, that's what's a good price on the stock market right now.
Yeah.
Okay, like let's do the math. Like, and I'm paraphrasing a lot of this, but I'm just doing it so you can understand.
Yeah.
So say now it's worth $100,000 because that's what you're making in income. Sorry. And it's 1,400 times that. That's like $140 million for a $100,000 business.
Oh, what?
Would you
that
ever?
Makes no
would you ever do that?
financial sense.
Exactly, but that's what people are doing in the stock market right now.
Yeah.
It's insane. It's insanity.
And people are just like, no, but it's Tesla. It'll be fine.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Oh my God.
So Tesla, it's gonna go green, and then it's gonna be like a battery pack
We're
everywhere.
saving the world, even though
And
just the batteries alone.
We just turned into like Clueless, the movie. None of you kids know what that movie is.
Aww.
The mall is totally tall. As if.
As if. Whatever.
You did a good one, yeah.
I sound like a Valley girl, I think.
I think you do. I think you do.
I've talked to people. I've talked to people and then met them, like for work or different things, and they think I'm white. And they're like, oh, I talked to Vanessa. I'm like, oh, I'm Vanessa. And they're like, no.
Wrong shade.
But I am. I'm a coconut, okay?
That's funny. Cannot comment on your coconut.
Oh.
My race will not allow me to.
Uh-oh. That's
Okay.
get canceled.
Don't cancel me. Okay. So that's what I would say. Is with the stock market and stuff like that. Now, for savings, I could also put into savings a little bit of gold and silver and Bitcoin. So gold, silver, and Bitcoin, BTC. All 3 of these I would put in the same boat.
I'm happy to hear that because that's what we've done.
Okay.
With our savings, cash, and then Bitcoin and gold and silver.
Yes.
Good. We're on the right track.
Yes. Bitcoin is definitely a real deal. I don't know exactly what's going to happen with Bitcoin. I could predict that in the next 4 years, probably, I would guess, not financial advice, 200,000. A Bitcoin, which is right now, it's like 16,000.
Yeah, it's been there.
So it's a crazy possibility. 150 to 200,000 in the next 4 years.
Yeah. And it's on is it a 4-year?
It's a 4-year cycle. So they have a split every 4 years. The miner's reward gets cut in half. And so there's less supply. And the supply shock of when the supply change stops is what sends it into the bull market. So that's why it's like consistently.
Yeah.
You know, I think this last cycle was totally manipulated by FTX and the government.
Yes.
Mainly due to them trying to roll out the Fed coin, which is going to be the one world currency eventually. You know, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be on the blockchain. So gold and silver is the one medium of exchange that people will learn to, if we go back and we have like a major collapse, we could trade for. It's going to be difficult because a lot of people don't even have any idea of it. Nobody has it. Nobody owns any. It's like 1% of 1% of the world own any precious metal, especially in coinage. Yeah. That's graded, and not graded, but I mean it has a purity level and weight amount to it. So if you want a simple weight, this is another thing I like to do. So I won't spend my savings. I'll buy silver and then I'll put it in my safe.
Yeah, because you can't.
It's like I have to go back to the coin store and sell it or whatever.
It's a process.
And it's too much work.
Yeah.
So, but that's what I recommend.
Yeah. My friend has family in Venezuela, and it's bad there right now. And it's slowly been.
Is it getting any better?
No, it's really bad. And they got to the point where they were sending jewelry up to the States, up here, to sell and then send money back. Because a loaf of bread you can't buy. You can't buy medicine. You can't buy. Their grandma's starving, has no medication. And even to like get the jewelry out, they had to smuggle the jewelry out. Because Venezuelans love gold. Like the women, they're very flashy. They like jewelry and all like very colorful. And so I just remember thinking like, wow, when you have nothing, but they had gold. And it's jewelry, but that's how they ended up getting money. Is they sent it up here, they sold it, and then sent the money back home.
Yep. The next couple years, gold and silver, scrapping will come back. So I'll give you a couple ratios about gold and silver, and then we'll close out.
Okay.
Gold has usually been silver has usually been 10 to 1. For silver. 10 ounces of silver equaled 1 ounce of gold.
Okay.
Now that number is not been consistently that number, but let's just say over time this is the median or the average. So right now gold is like $1,900. Okay, and so that means that an ounce of silver should be $190. Right now, an ounce of silver is like $23.
Oh, wow.
Okay.
Whoa. So silver would be a really good thing to get into right now.
Silver is very undervalued.
Wow.
And this brings up my number one lesson on investing. Is you buy when things are cheap or inexpensive, and you sell when things are expensive and overpriced. Okay, so let's think about the stock market. Is it cheap or undervalued, or is it expensive and overpriced?
Like Tesla's stock, expensive and overpriced.
90% of all the stocks are overpriced. Yeah. Right? Because I just explained to you PE ratio. Real estate. Is real estate cheap and inexpensive or undervalued, or is it overpriced and overvalued?
Depends on the deal. And the time.
All of it, in general, as a market, is overpriced. Okay, so just look at it as overpriced. Okay. So when it's overpriced, you do what?
When it's overpriced, you sell.
You sell.
You don't buy.
You don't buy. Duh. You're gonna buy low and sell high. So let's think about gold and silver. Gold and silver, is it undervalued? Is it cheap, or is it overvalued and expensive?
It sounds like right now gold is overvalued.
Both are very undervalued.
Oh.
Yeah. So silver even hit, I don't remember when, 20 years ago, $50 an ounce. Like 20 years ago. Right? And it's cheaper than it is now. And we have inflation.
Yeah.
Okay. Gold same thing. So I think historically an ounce of gold has always been able to buy you certain things. You know, I think there's a study like a 1 ounce of gold is you're able to buy a custom made suit, tailored suit.
Oh.
I think that's the thing. And so 1 ounce of gold, you could go and buy a custom made suit, which would probably be like $3-4 grand right now.
Okay.
Like
I'm
in New
how
York.
much is a suit? Okay.
Yeah, $3-4 grand, right?
Wow.
So, yeah, it's undervalued for sure. And then also silver's unique because silver is used in all of our technology.
Yes.
Because it's gold is a better conductor than silver is, but gold is too expensive.
Too expensive, yeah.
But silver is so cheap that they use it as an industrial metal. They put it in mirrors, they put it in computers, they put it in circuit breakers, they put it in everything that's electronic. Has silver in it. Right? So minuscule amounts of silver that right now it's not worth scrapping. Like you could open up, like if you got an electronic item and you get your circuit breaker, you could pull out the silver and then just save them in like a little tin can.
Yeah.
If your grandparents were alive, they would be.
They would be doing that, yeah.
Right? If they were aware of it.
Yeah.
So.
What about copper?
Copper is a good investment right now too.
Yeah.
It's a really
How do you
good
invest
investment.
in copper?
You can buy gold. You can buy coins. You can buy
Really?
bricks of copper.
Oh shit.
I have coins and bricks of copper.
Because so we've gotten, you hear people like if it's a foreclosure house, they'll go through and rip
strip
out
all the copper.
They'll take all the copper. Jake had a Toyota Tacoma, and it went in college, and people went under and stole his catalytic converter for the precious metals that were in it.
I forget what it's in there. Put it in the comments. I forget what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
and they were just going around just stealing everybody's catalytic converters, especially on Toyotas, because I think the older ones had 2 catalytic converters, and their catalytic converters had more, and they were higher up, so it was easier to get under there. It was really sad. It was so expensive to fix, and we had no money. We were in college.
That jerk.
He turned on his truck, and it was like, and it woke me up. It sounded like his truck was in our apartment.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, stole my catalytic
And
converter.
he was driving, and everybody thought he was trying to soup up his Toyota Tacoma.
His little, I tried to call it the taco, because it's tacos in Tacoma, and he wouldn't let me.
Don't say that, woman. Go make me a sandwich.
I'll make him a taco.
So that's what I would say is that it's undervalued, mainly just historically it's undervalued. I think silver and gold is very manipulated in the market because of the ETFs. So an ETF is like a future play on gold and silver or any commodity. And like they have corn futures, oil futures, things of that nature. All these things are manipulated because they have supply that doesn't exist. So they have like a certain, like most people that invest in ETF never actually take ownership of the gold and the silver. They're just plain paper trades, right? So the paper trade, the person that owns the ETF doesn't actually own any or not as much silver or gold that they need to have on hand because nobody really takes ownership of it. They just leave it in paper.
Wow.
True. So it's, I think it's very manipulated. I don't think there's that much supply of silver and gold that they are acting like there is. But it's run by these big corporations that need the cheap material, so they keep the supply chain with cheap material.
Whoa, but it's fake.
Yeah. So even now you can go online and try and buy bullion, silver or gold or bars or whatever. And there's a disconnect between spot and actual coin prices. And the coin prices are obviously very high comparably. So even though it's like silver might be selling at $23 an ounce, you go to a coin store, you're going to probably pay $30 an ounce. Yeah. Yeah. So so that's where you would go to buy a coin.
Okay.
So you go to a coin store and then you ask if you're gonna do it, you would ask for bullion.
Okay.
And you don't want to go to a place that is not reputable. You know, and you want to buy reputable mints, preferably. You don't have to get, you know, an American Eagle or a Liberty, Walking Liberty. You can get, you know, a Canadian Maple or an Australian whatever, and you know they have them from these different countries. But there's companies that print them and whatever, and they're cheaper. The more you get of a numismatic type coin, the higher premium you'll spend. So like the you know the American Eagles are more expensive than.
But it's the same thing, right?
It's the same thing. It's just a print.
Oh.
So
do you get more value for the print? Like, is it worth it, or does it really matter?
You will.
Okay.
You will, because there's people that only invest in a certain type of coin. So it's like, and there's never enough supply of them. So that's what I would say.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
You can buy smaller denominations of gold because gold's obviously more expensive. I think you can get like a dime size, and you can get like a half a ounce, stuff like that, of gold that's actually printed on a mint. Gold is great. Gold is the more secure. Silver is the least. Silver's more volatile. But you shouldn't have the effects of inflation as much when you're in precious metals. Right?
Very cool.
Yeah. So that's the goal, is if you can just handle all your bases, control your expenses, give, you know, tithe, pay yourself first, save, try and increase your income, try and decrease your expenses, and then learn about business throughout this time so that when you do have some cash, you'll have some money to invest in it. And then invest. Oh, I put here fruit. I was going to talk about this. So, not eating your children, right? So, if I went outside and I went to my apple tree and I pulled out an apple, inside this apple there is seeds for more of the same fruit. But that seed needs to be taken out of the fruit, dug into the ground, covered in soil, and watered and tended to grow a new fruit, right? And with one tree, you can pretty much have endless orchards because it will recreate itself. So it's the same thing in investing. This is why you don't eat your fruit from all your trees. You will take the seeds out and then you go put them in the ground and then you reinvest them. So everything that you're investing, even if you're making cash flow, you want to take it and reinvest it and put it back in the ground so that it can multiply.
Yes.
You can eat of your own fruit and it will give you some some satisfaction, but you will never gain the ability to get out if you consistently eat your fruit.
That makes total sense. Yeah. No. I have a friend that has a business right now, and he has no fruit. No fruit at all.
Yeah, he spent it all.
Yes, he spends it all. And so there's nothing. So it's just, it's still like a scary rat race. Because there's no extra. And yeah. Okay. I love that. And when it's time to get into business, one thing that I would say too is if you're not ready, you're not ready.
Yep.
Still save and do all the things until you are ready. Because I've seen people go into credit card debt to start a business, and they can't even make their credit card payments.
Yeah.
Because they're just barely starting a business and they're drowning, and you want to set yourself up for success. So if you're not ready, continue to get ready.
Yeah, and I think it's also too, you want to learn from people on how to run a business. You want to find your level of mentors. You want to have people that will speak into your life and be honest with you about it. because sometimes when you build a business, it becomes your baby,
Yes.
and nobody likes to get rid of their baby.
No.
So, and nobody wants to hear any negative thing about their baby,
Yeah.
right? Like, oh, your baby's bad.
Yeah.
You know, your kids are mean, or
Yeah.
you know, your kid, you know, chewed up this thing over here, or broke this vase, or whatever it is. And you're like, dang it.
Yeah.
So, you need to find that person that can reel you back in to reality consistently, because you'll get very conceited and very egocentric and never learn what you're doing wrong, and you won't be able to get out. So business is, I think, a team sport, and then B, a way for you to grow as a person for the future.
I love that.
So,
I agree.
That's what I would do. So you got business income, expenses, business, and investing.
Yeah.
And you want to invest in the P and the I side of the quadrants. You don't want to invest in just frivolous things because you think that it's a great investment, or you saw that on TikTok, or whatever it is. So that's it for today, guys. You go out there and do it.
Yay!
Get rich or die trying. Get her done.
Get her done.
Yeah. So that's it for today. Like and comment.
Yes.
Subscribe. Share with your friends. And we'll see you on episode 24.
Yep. Bye.
Bye-bye.